Hello, it's Doe from Doe's Junkie Journals, and I was challenged by Sherry from Studio 28E to answer these questions about myself and my crafts. So I've been very slow about answering these questions because I was working on some other things, but anyway, I'll try to answer them tonight, and I have my little cheat sheet because I'll probably have to look at that more than not. And this is my October daily that I did with Pink Oddbird, and I just put it out here so I'd have something in front of me. My name is Doe Bailey. And it says, how did you come up with your YouTube name? Well, I had started a Facebook account, and I wanted to record all of my journals on there, and so I had Doe's Junkie Journals, and so I just decided that should be my YouTube name also. So that wasn't really a hard one. That's just what I did. And what is your favorite craft? Well, currently it's making journals, junk journals. Prior to this, I quilted for about 11 years or so, and I had kind of gotten burnt out. I liked buying the fabric and matching the colors and piecing it together, but I wasn't really what you'd call a quilter. So I was more the piece, I just pieced it. And then I usually had to have someone else actually do the quilting. So, but right now it's making journals. And what is your favorite place to shop? Well, I don't get out very much, so I don't make the rounds to the garage sales or the thrift shops or anything of that nature. And I loved going to Michael's. And I'm in California, and one of the first places that got a Hobby Lobby here was our little town, which is kind of odd because we're only like 100,000, maybe 125,000, because there's two little towns right together, San Jacinto and Hemet. And anyway, Michael's was my favorite place before Hobby Lobby, and my other choice was basically Joann's. And I didn't go there for paper crafts. And then our Michael's closed their doors. So now I would have to go about 25 miles or so to a Michael's. And so I go to Hobby Lobby. And they've moved the Joann's from at the way other end of town into the old Michael's store. And so I have been in there, but only one time. So I guess right now it's Hobby Lobby. What are your top 5 favorite YouTube channels to watch? Okay, I started out this journey, I was on Pinterest, and I just saw a journal. I didn't even really know what it was. It just was a book. But it showed it was a YouTube tutorial type thing. So I watched it, and that was Deli Girl. Deli Girl 1961, which is Cheryl Brown, and she's in Canada. And she was my teacher. I watched her all the time. And I learned so much, so many little ins and outs and secrets and what tools to buy and everything. But I don't watch her so much anymore. I watch Artie Mays, and probably after that I watch Rachel from Roxy's Creations, and then I watch Shabby Dabby Do quite a bit, and I watch Tracy Fox, and I watch Carol from Carol's Crafty Emporium Designs, and so those are the ones I basically watch. That's 6 counting Deli Girl, but that's my top ones that I watch right now. My favorite color. Well, white isn't a color, but that's basically my favorite thing of all. I like white almost on everything. So dishes, houses, carpets. My carpet isn't white, but it's in the very light neutrals, and my furniture is neutral, and just everything is in more or less in the white category. But shabby chic, you know, it's that type of thing. But after that, it's red and yellow, and they're pretty much on even ground, red and yellow. And if you looked at my clothes, they're the same, red and yellow. And then after that is green in the lighter greens, the limey greens. And I like some of the super dark greens also. So those are my favorite colors. What are my favorite craft tools? Well, this is my desk, but I don't work on my desk. But I have a table sitting here that is one of these lift-up tables. And so right beside me is my paper cutter and my Big Shot, and probably my very favorite tool that I feel like helped me so much, and no one ever really thinks about it or says anything about it, and that is my centering tool by Tim Holtz. To me, that just saves me so much time trying to measure and figure out how to sew things into a journal. So it's really, it really is my all-time favorite tool. And then comes the cutter, the Big Shot, and oh, of course you have to have your printer. And I have got the best little printer. It's a super inexpensive HP, and I can print on 110 cardstock, no problem. I've never had any problem putting anything through it. I've put coffee dyed paper through it. I've put vellum, tracing paper, just anything. It just takes it. I've even put in pages after I cut the edges off. I thought, well, I'm going to try it and see if it'll work. It'll probably spit it out. But it wasn't the right size. You know, it is, and my little printer has very few selections on it. It isn't really sophisticated at all. But anyway, it prints on any and everything, and I dread the day it goes bye-bye, because I don't know if I could ever find another one that does everything that it does and keeps on trucking. And it's very, very inexpensive. And I'm on the ink program, and I don't even know if this model is on the ink program anymore because it's such an inexpensive little model. I think they've taken it off. But anyway, it's very dear to me. And after the printer, maybe my sewing machine. Since I was a quilter, I have several sewing machines. I have antiques, I have digital, I have an old one that's about 40 or 50 years old. That's a Riccar, which no one really has a Riccar sewing machine, but I do, and it is a very good machine. It's had one repair, and that was the timing. And would you believe that now my Janome digital has also gone out of timing, and it's about 25 years old. So I don't have any new machines, but I do have several machines, and I didn't sew at first on paper, but I finally gave in and decided to do it. And the other day it was giving me fits, and I guess I had it threaded incorrectly. I finally found my problem, and it's okay again. But isn't it crazy? You should know your machine, but just one little slip up and everything goes haywire. Where does your love of crafting come from? Well, as a young child, and I don't remember the exact age, but I began drawing. And when I was punished for doing something incorrectly, wrong, bad, naughty, I was often put in the bathroom. And we were in a rent house, I particularly remember, that had swans on the wallpaper in the bathroom. And so I drew the wallpaper. Every time I went in there, I would draw the wallpaper. And I would also sit out in front of the house and draw the house. And I began to work on dimension and depth and all that kind of stuff when I was probably 8 or 9, 10 years old. And I wanted to be an architect. And so I guess that just sort of was a natural thing. But I couldn't get through Algebra 2, so I didn't get to go on to geometry or trig or anything, so that dream went away. But I went ahead and I drew house plans all the time. And I can go into a house and I can pretty much tell you what's wrong with it, what's good with it, what the room sizes are, all kinds of things like that go along. I've done real estate, and I've done real estate appraising, which has to do with all that too. And I've always been into some kind of art or craft, drawing, painting. I've done oil paint, toll painting. I did macrame when that was the thing, and that's older than most of you. And then there was the paper crafts where that twisted paper that I've shown you before, there were a lot of crafts connected with that, and arranging flowers. And I did that for my church. Any and everything has brought me to this point. And I'm having a great time. I don't sell my journals. I simply make them, enjoy them, look at them, and write in them every day. So I've made approximately 70, and I've filled 19. So I have a lot to go. But of course, some of those have gone, they've been in swaps and different things of that nature. So my loves of crafts, and I used to make candle sticks. I thought I was making candlesticks or candy canes. I would take the tubes out of the wrapping paper, and I would wrap them in paper and put red ribbon around them, and I thought I was really doing something. And I made little things for the tree, the Christmas tree and stuff. So that was early on too. So let's see, when did you start crafting? Well, I guess I've answered that pretty much. It was around, the crafting probably started around the age of 8, maybe 8 or 10. And what are my favorite crafts so far? Well, I've kind of answered that too. Prior to the paper, and I was in scrapbooking, but I never got into the cards or the mini albums, just the scrapbooking. And then I got into the design and designing gardens and around my home, and I've had several homes where I've designed the yards. So I guess the journals is just about my favorite. It would be a toss-up between that and quilting. Okay, I've answered, I think, all of the important questions. And it says I'm to give people that I want to tag. So I'm terrible with names, pronunciation, can't spell worth a darn. So I'm not good with that, but I want to tag Sherry Ekdahl is, I think, the way it might be pronounced. Margaret Pinsent and Katrina. I think it's Coonce, maybe. I'm not sure. It's C-O-O-N-C. Charlotte Peterson. And some of these people have probably done this. I'm not sure. I have no idea. And Susan Gallion. I followed Susan through her rehab and getting back up on her feet and climbing those stairs to her apartment. And so I kind of keep an eye on her, and I think it would be interesting to see how she came about her love of junk journaling. So those are my selections, and this is my video, and I thank you, Sherry, for asking me to do this. Sorry I took so long. And thanks, everyone, and I'll see you soon on a video of my most recent journal. Bye-bye.